be slow and steady, or it could be quick and short, regular or irregular. It doesn't really matter. Just noticing the quality of your breath as it is now. Noticing any physical sensations that are present in your body. These may include sensations of your feet touching the floor, your hands in your lap, or your body against the chair. Or they may include areas of tightness or relaxation in your body. There's no need to try and change anything you're feeling. It's simply about noticing. Noticing where your mind is. Are your thoughts racing, or is your mind calm? Are there thoughts that you have brought in with you from your day, or some anticipation about this session? Just noticing their presence without trying to get rid of them or change them, and without getting caught up in them. Noticing if there are any emotions or moods present with you in this moment. It could be happy or sad, tired, frustrated, peaceful, restless, calm, or something else. Just spending a few more moments sitting with an awareness of sensations, thoughts, and emotions without needing to change anything. And when you're ready, opening up your eyes if they were closed and asking yourself, can I be curious about what I noticed without making judgments? And now that we've done that check-in, that pause and noticing what's happening in our body, did you also notice what your energy level is like? Did you notice whether you're kind of tired and exhausted, or that you're feeling great and you're full of beans, full of energy, or somewhere in the middle? If you're, and maybe put in the chat, Therese, would you mind letting me know a general sense of what people find? Maybe put in the chat or the Q&A how you're feeling right now. If you're feeling a bit red and empty, or green and full of energy, or somewhere in the middle. I'll just give you a moment, and Therese.
We have somebody who's feeling empty.
Yeah. So my question would be, and we'll do an exercise after this, and thank you for responding. Can you pinpoint what's draining you, and one thing that you could do for yourself to fill yourself up? Because the key with mindfulness is noticing and making a wise choice based on your own need and what feels great for you. What's the point of a check-in? Well, it's to build your awareness, as we just spoke about. And it's also, and it's also a way of noticing when we move from one activity to another, of allowing ourselves to make those transitions between spaces. Transitions are spaces between moments. And if we think about how, those of us with children, if we think about what we did for our little kids, we might say we're leaving the park in 5 minutes. We give them an opportunity to enter that space of transition. Do any of you notice what you do for yourselves to allow yourself to get from one space to the next, to move from one activity to the next and be in it fully or not? When people first arrive from their busy lives, it's important to acknowledge the transition and allow ourselves to make that shift. So a second ago, you did the battery check-in where you noticed how much energy you have or don't have. And one of you did comment that you were feeling pretty tired. And a really great exercise to do, to maybe try, if this appeals to you, to maybe try and move that energy of tiredness is, if I invite you to stand, or you can do this sitting, but it's also helpful to stand if you can, if you're comfortable, to do the heart breath. And the heart breath is really a very simple movement. I'll take my glasses off so I don't break them. And you don't have to do this. You can close your eyes and imagine it in your mind's eye if this movement might not be comfortable for you, or if your body doesn't allow at this time. And important to follow the cues of your body. And so the heart breath is we lift our hands up, breathing in, bring them down in front of us, and bring our head forward. And as our arms come up behind us, make a ha, breathing out sound. So it's actually about also making sound. So bringing up, arms down, and then ha, 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 ha. I've lost track of how many times I've done that, but the idea is to do it 3 to 5 times. And then check in with your body. What do you notice now that you've done that? Do you have any thoughts or emotions? This is a great tool to let go of energy, of tension, and gain some energy. I notice now that I feel a little tingling in my fingers and even in my nose. And before, I'm actually very tired. I didn't sleep well last night. And so that actually increased my energy. So I feel like there's a little more energy than I had before in my body. It also reinforces the mind-body connection because you're moving, you're doing a couple of exercises together, the breathing, the making a noise, the bringing, the coordination, and all of these things help our mind and body coordinate together.
Somebody said that they feel relief on their got their circulation moving.
Oh, that's really great. Thank you for sharing. I would have to say that that's what I experienced too. It really does help move the energy and the blood around the body, and it's not a hard exercise, although the noise, I think, for a lot of people is difficult to make, so that takes some practice. So now I want to play you a short little video. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. It explains a little bit about what mindfulness is. And I don't see it.
You may have heard this word mindfulness. It's become something of a buzz phrase of late. So I'm going to give you one simple, serviceable definition, which is this. Mindfulness is the ability to know what's happening in your head at any given moment without getting carried away by it. Imagine how useful this could be. Just as an example, driving down the road and somebody cuts you off in traffic. How do you normally react? I think most of us, we normally react by having a thought, which is, I'm pissed. And then what happens next? You immediately, habitually, reflexively inhabit that thought. You actually become pissed. There's no buffer between the stimulus and your reaction. With just a little bit of mindfulness, in that same situation, you might notice my chest is buzzing, my ears are turning red, I'm having a starburst of self-righteous thoughts, I'm getting angry. But you don't necessarily have to act on it and chase that person down the road, screaming at them with your kids in the back of the car, thinking you've gone nuts. Now, you might be thinking, don't I need to get angry sometimes? Aren't I justified? I would say yes, but probably not as much as you think. The proposition here is not that you should be rendered by mindfulness into some lifeless, non-judgmental blob. The proposition is that you should learn how to respond wisely to things that happen to you rather than just reacting blindly. And that, my friends, is a superpower. How do you get it? The way to get it is through meditation. I believe that meditation and mindfulness are the next big public health revolution. In the 1940s, if you told somebody you were going running, they would have said, who's chasing you? But then what happened next? The scientists swooped in, they showed that physical exercise is really good for you. And now all of us do it. And if we don't, we feel guilty about it. And that's where I think we're headed with mindfulness and meditation. It's going to join the pantheon of no-brainers like brushing your teeth, eating well and taking the meds your doctor prescribed for you. Let me just close by saying mindfulness is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to render your life a nonstop parade of unicorns and rainbows. Nonetheless, this is a superpower and one that is accessible by you immediately.
So that's what mindfulness is. It's a superpower, a way for us to care for ourselves and respond wisely, to learn to tap into that sense of calm when we need to. Oh, okay. There are a few different definitions for mindfulness, and I think it's important to now talk about what is mindfulness. John Kabat-Zinn, who's attributed to be one of the founders of mindfulness in the West, defined it as paying attention in a particular way in the present moment with non-judgment. But I like the variation of this definition by Dr. Amy Salzman, and often we use this with students. And I like to use it for people with migraine because and also thinking further forward, those who experience chronic pain, because we're actually really tough on ourselves. We judge ourselves and our experience. And so we push ourselves. Research actually shows that people with migraine don't stop when they have an attack. They push through, they keep going, working, parenting, socializing, even when they're almost incapacitated. So this definition that I like is mindfulness is paying attention to your life in the here and now with kindness, curiosity, and choosing wisely. By emphasizing kindness, we find it easier to understand the concept of non-judgment. Kindness is an attitude that I bring into every session, pointing out how unkind we can be to ourselves in words, in neglecting our self-care for ourselves, in negative self-talk towards ourselves, and in judgmental thoughts towards others. Also, not just for our day-to-day behavior towards ourselves, but also if you're having, say, a migraine attack. A migraine is a chronic, is an episodic condition, and so not taking our medication when we first notice we're getting an attack, maybe that's not so kind to ourselves. What are we really prioritizing there? There's a misconception that mindfulness is an internal process that only involves ourselves. But we have a wide-angle lens to this, and by increasing our awareness and relationship to ourselves and our environment, we can notice what's happening to better manage our health and our well-being, our relationships, and how we move in and about and interact with our world. It's about relationship to yourself, to your community, and to the world at large. There are 9 attitudes for mindfulness. Becoming aware of the constant stream of judging and reacting to inner thoughts and outer experiences. We're constantly judging things and people and ourselves as either being good or bad. Mindfulness encourages us to step back from this and observe it all with kindness and curiosity. Patience is a form of wisdom. It demonstrates that we accept the fact that sometimes things must unfold in their own time. We intentionally remind ourselves not to be impatient with ourselves because we're tense or agitated or frightened. Beginner's mind is an open mind, which allows us to be open to new possibilities and stops us from getting stuck in the rut of old ways of thinking. No moment is the same as the other. Each one contains unique possibilities. Are you able to see everything through new eyes, a child's eyes? Are you ready to learn something new all the time? And it's important to develop a basic trust in yourself and feelings. It's far better to trust in your intuition and your own, even if you make some mistakes, than to always look outside of yourself for guidance. And mindfulness's only goal is for us to be ourself, which we already are. We just have to feel it. It invites us to a new way of seeing ourselves, one which we are trying less and being more. We are not human doings, after all. We're human beings. Mindfulness invites us to be more by doing less, avoiding the trap of perfectionism. And acceptance is important. Accepting the present moment. In the course of our daily lives, we often waste a lot of energy denying or resisting what's already fact, a past experience or whatever. Mindfulness encourages us to accept things and ourselves as they are in the present moment with a sense of serenity, understanding that we grow from all experiences, most importantly from challenging ones. Once we accept something, it makes it easier to kind of let go. We let our experience be what it is, letting go of limiting expectations. For example, my friends should act more like this, or if only I could be more like that. This sets the stage for a letting go of perfectionism, judgments, the past, certain people. Generosity is the virtue of being unattached to material possessions, often symbolized by the giving of gifts, the virtue of giving good things to others freely and abundantly. As important as the generous giving of things is encouraging and inspiring others and ourselves with generous words and actions. And this can lead to gratitude, which is the quality of being thankful, the readiness to show appreciation for all the small things in life, not just the big things like a snowflake landing on your tongue on a bright winter's day, or sitting down to a good meal with family and friends, or looking into the eyes of your adoring pet. So I run some mindfulness for migraine courses with Dr. Jackie Gardner-Nix, who developed a program called Mindfulness-Based Chronic Pain Management, and we've adapted it for migraine. The migraine program, took mindfulness-based chronic pain management and tailored it for people with migraine and headache. We've found this helpful. As I mentioned before, people with migraine have episodes. Sometimes they're daily, sometimes it's chronic, but migraine is an episodic illness, and most people with migraine don't have migraine pain all of the time. So the pain when people do chronic pain management courses, sometimes people with migraine feel like they don't really identify with what people who are in pain all of the time with, say, fibromyalgia or some other condition might be experiencing. So, and in addition to that, migraine is not just a headache, it's a multi-system body experience with many neurological and physical symptoms. So it's slightly different, and often it's more often not, it's comorbid with other conditions like maybe fibromyalgia or other mental health conditions. So the benefits that we've found is that it's given people tools to manage the stress and sleep disruption. And it's explored treatment options and created a community of support. It reduces isolation and allows people to treat their attacks more quickly and effectively, gaining a deeper understanding of their medications, their own bodies, and using various tools, of course, together with the medications that their doctor has prescribed. So, according to Gabor Mate, there are 3 major stresses. And the goal of the Mindfulness for Migraine program is to increase our window of tolerance so that we have less attacks or reduce the severity of attacks. And we are in touch with our bodies so that we can treat ourselves more quickly and effectively using various tools. So this window of tolerance is hopefully increased so we get less attacks or less severe attacks, and then can manage the attacks that we do have more easily. Stress is a major trigger for many of us with migraine. Research shows that stress often triggers attacks. And in fact, stress, sleep disruption, and sugar spikes and lows are the main triggers for a migraine attack. Therefore, managing our stress is very useful for those of us with migraine disorder. Chronic stress can lead to inadequate sleep, which can trigger a migraine attack. Emotional distress and perhaps comfort eating or other unhelpful behaviors can sometimes also be triggers. That said, often with migraine during a prodrome, the first stage of migraine, we might crave salty or sweet foods or coffee or other things which are thought to sometimes be triggers as well. Managing our stress can help with attention, perception, memory, learning, and word finding. Just like migraine, stress impacts every system in our body. It's why it's so important to manage the stress in our lives. Both good stress and bad stress can be triggers. Many people will experience the lead up to a wedding or the day after the wedding, or even maybe a day of a wedding, which is a joyful event, as a trigger for having a migraine attack. Maybe a dinner party might trigger, or holidays. Therefore, it's important to notice when our sensitive bodies are impacted and make a conscious decision about how to care for ourselves. So you can see here from this slide that stress impacts our brain, our cardiovascular system, our joints and muscles, the immune system, our skin, our gut, and our reproductive system. So one really nice way to reduce stress and say an event happens, a conflict or an event happens, this stop practice is a lovely practice. They're a lovely practice to take a moment, give yourself a second, and then react or respond rather than react. Because even talking about stress, how's that impacted your bodies? For me, it's actually made me feel a little stressed. So I think it's really important to take these tools and try them out and see what works for you. So this is a lovely practice, the stop practice. Let's try it. So just stop, pause for a moment, take a breath, notice your breathing in and out. Observe what's happening inside and around you. How is the situation affecting you? What thoughts are going through your mind? What emotions are you experiencing? What sensations are you feeling in your body? And then, can you step back and give yourself some perspective? What's the bigger picture? Will this matter in a year, 5 years, 10 years? How important is this one singular event? And then, once you've done that, you can proceed with awareness. You can notice that you have options, hopefully, and choose what's the best option now for you and for the other people around you. Visualize a positive outcome. That's one practice. Another practice is the awareness of breathing, which is a core practice. I invite you, if you're comfortable with breathing, to practice this with me now. For this practice, we can start with assuming a dignified, mindful position. And what this means is feet flat on the floor or sitting comfortably, noticing where your body's at and what's right for your body at this time, not what's right for my body, which is not experiencing what you're experiencing. But if you're able to sit straight, or in mind's eye, if you cannot, imagining through the crown of your head like a rope holding you up or pulling your head up to the sky, your shoulders comfortably back, maybe your hands on your lap or knees, and just sitting comfortably. This is only for a minute. Your back upright. If it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes or just look downwards at the floor in front of you or your hands. This will help you to be internal rather than external. Now, allowing yourself to settle into stillness as best you can, feeling your body and mind become quiet as best you can. There's nothing else you need to do right now. There's no place you need to go. So for a minute, give yourself a break. Let's continue with the practice of paying attention to our breath. Imagine you're a detective investigating what your breathing's like. There's no need to change your breath in any way. Noticing your breath as it is right now. Noticing that it happens by itself. Maybe your breath is slow and steady. Maybe it's quick and short. Maybe it's regular or it isn't. It really doesn't matter one way or another. All that matters is that you're paying attention to how it feels without analyzing it, without doing anything at all, other than resting in the experience of breathing. If you notice that your mind wanders, as it will, gently bring it back to noticing your breath. Each time it wanders, just notice, no judgment, bring it back. Now, bringing your attention back to the room, to this virtual Zoom room. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes. Did any of you find that your mind wandered? If you did, congratulations. That's human. That's what the mind does. It's designed to wander. And we can't stop it wandering. That's impossible. So the key is noticing and then bringing it back to whatever your chosen focus is. So I'd be interested in the chat to hear if anyone's mind wandered or if anyone was able to concentrate completely on that breathing without their mind wandering. We only did it quite quickly. And do you have any questions about what we just did? Maybe put them in the chat and I can answer them later. The wonderful thing about your breath is that it's always with you. If you want to calm yourself down or help focus your attention, you can pay attention to your breath and see what happens when you do. Paying attention to your breath can help relax your body, and relaxing your body can help calm your mind, and calming your mind can help you to think more clearly. Mindfulness is not about clearing your mind or stopping your thoughts, which is impossible. The magic moment is noticing when and where the attention goes, acknowledging it, and gently and kindly bringing the attention back to the breath. So this in-breath or that out-breath. I like to give people a couple of different exercises and for them to see which exercise resonates with them the best, which impacts their nervous system the best, if they can tell. So this exercise works really well with high school students and many adults as well. And what it is the mountains and valleys or 5-finger breathing. And what we do is we trace our fingers up and down while we breathe in and out. So as you breathe in, tracing very slowly up the side of your thumb, pausing for a second, and then as you breathe out, down into the valley, and then in, tracing up to the tip of your finger, and so on. So let's do this. Do you notice where you feel it more and where you feel it less? Which finger is more sensitive, or is there a part of the finger that's more sensitive? When you get to the end, going back the other way, breathing in. How does it feel, if you can feel anything? on your fingers and your hand. This practice uses more than the breath. Was this more effective for you in focusing your attention? Attention's like a pipeline. If you can fill it with a strong enough anchor, your attention will not spill into ruminating thoughts about the past or the future. So in this activity, we're using two anchors, somatic touch and the breath. So which practice allowed you to keep your attention most easily, breath awareness or five finger? Perhaps let us know in the chat. The breath is not easy for everybody to concentrate on, however, and some people find it a little triggering at times to focus on the breath. So I'd like to give another tool, because 75% of the brain is used to process visualization. So the brain is always working hard to see what's happening around it. This exercise is to cover your closed eyes with your hand in such a way that there's no pressure on your eyeballs. You cup your hands slightly over each eye and interlace your fingers to try and keep out any light. I'm going to remove my glasses for a moment. Before we get going, warming up our hands, rubbing our palms against each other to create a little bit of heat, cupping our hands and then covering up our eyes and just resting here for a moment. You can close your eyes if you wish. Keep your eyes covered for a moment. This gives you a deep eye relaxation that removes any eye strain. Imagining our eyes relaxing into their sockets, letting go, and welcome the breath in to help calm the senses. Feeling the warmth coming from our palms. Imagining the space in front of our eyes. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and then removing your hands and stretching if that appeals. How was that? Perhaps let me know in the chat. Did you prefer the breath exercise or the eye palming? Or do you like both? Did you notice which one calmed your nervous system the most? What did you notice? Now I'm going to
said that their hands are too cold today. They didn't warm up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't rub them together for long enough.
And somebody else said it was beautiful. They loved both.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I'm wondering if you feel like these are tools you can just use in your day-to-day life. So now I'd like to lead you through one of my favorite meditations. I invite you to participate in this if you would like to. I really like to use this meditation. It's written by Dr. Jackie Gardner-Nix. I really like to use this meditation, particularly when I notice that I'm first starting to get a migraine attack. Sometimes it helps me to reduce or arrest an attack, or if it doesn't do that, it helps me decide what treatment might work best to really, give myself time to figure out what I need to do to look after myself. And mostly, I just find it really calming. It's a 5-minute meditation. So please take a position that's most comfortable to you in this moment, remembering that kindness is key. So remember to be kind to your body. If you need to move while we're doing this meditation, I invite you to do so. If you'd rather stand while we do this meditation, of course, that's fine too. Just choose the best position for your body at this moment, at this time. And if focusing on the breath is challenging for you, I invite you to focus on something else. maybe a noise, maybe the tip of your finger, whenever breath is mentioned. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment to find a position that's as comfortable as you can be at this time. Maybe you can't be comfortable, but if you can ease any discomfort, maybe trying that, and reminding you if during the meditation you need to move, notice that you need to move and make a conscious choice about moving slowly into a different position. Okay, and we're going to get going. It may be very helpful to have meditation practice as a first aid tool to use when challenging situations come up. Situations where we may feel stressed and anxious, or even are at risk of panic attacks. Times such as going to our doctor or dentist, speaking in public, dealing with a medical emergency involving a friend or relative, opening a letter which we know may have difficult news. Awareness of the breath in these situations may be very helpful because when human beings are stressed or anxious, our breathing invariably changes and we don't maintain regular breathing during these episodes. So, if the breath has become rapid or irregular, deep or shallow, or we notice we're even holding our breath in the tension of the situation, focusing for a few moments on the breath, slowing it down if it's rapid, deepening the breath if it's shallow or irregular, allowing it to gradually return to normal, and in our awareness of it, working with it to soothe ourselves. Working with that awareness, allowing our breath to relieve us as it permeates through our body, warming us, nourishing us, and comforting us. It's never too late to start working gently on our feelings of despair or hurt or anger, to stop hurting ourselves, to take part in our own healing and comforting. And if life has given us some difficult times, acknowledging that and the effect it's had on us without judging. This can feel freeing. Time to look after self, time to live our life, fully engaged with it in the here and now, fully aware of the past, yet able to be fully present. It's never too late to start feeling human and worthwhile again, no matter what has happened to us in the past. Breathing, our breath, and acknowledging over and over again that we are worthy of love from ourselves and others. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, maybe wiggling your fingers and toes if you can, coming back into this virtual space that we're sharing. So I'm wondering how you found that meditation, if that was helpful, if you think that might be helpful for you. And I'm happy to answer any questions that might have come up during it, or if you have now.
Well, we've had a lot of response here, and I particularly love doing these exercises with you. So, so this one is from Jenny. Hi, Natanya. Thank you for your presentation today. It is so meaningful that you are someone who lives with pain, sharing a practice that has benefited you and other members of the community.
Thank you.
Continues. My question is this: many of us living with pain are told by clinicians who have never practiced mindfulness to do mindfulness, as it means to manage pain. There is so much out there to wade through, and so many of us don't have the energy or capacity to do in-depth searches for mindfulness resources. Could you please share some credible resources? Thank you so much.
Oh, I could. We have a lot of resources available through Mindfulness Every Day. It's mindfulnesseveryday.org. Maybe we can send that out to people, or those resources, and lots of books to read, lots of recommended videos to watch. The video that I showed you, which was from the Happify, I think it's an app and website, has a lot of really helpful tools and resources on it. And then there's the courses that we run from Mindfulness Every Day. They're not covered by OHIP or anything like that, but then they're affordable and taught by people who have been through a lot of education in mindfulness. So I think what I'll do is maybe send to Therese later resources, and we can share them with the audience.
Yeah, that would be great. Bev has asked, is this mindfulness meditation recommended daily, twice a day, regularly, or with migraine? I have daily migraine.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you have daily migraine. That's really a lot to do with. Meditation is something they recommend that you do every day. And, that's not necessarily practical for everybody, but it is recommended that you do it every day. And even just a short meditation like we did just now. I do another one with people, which is focusing on different senses, which kind of takes theory from dialectical behavior therapy. These things all help to increase our tolerance and increase our awareness of our own self, our environment. And so, yeah, it's every day that they're recommending that you meditate, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just giving yourself that space. And there's lots of ways to meditate. You don't have to sit, like all the pictures show someone sitting on a mountaintop with back support. I mean, how realistic is that? I often lie down. Sometimes I'll do a walking meditation. So I'll actually walk slowly, concentrating on the movement of my feet. The key is having a focus, and whenever you notice your mind wandering, bringing your attention back to that focus. And being kind to your body, particularly if you have chronic pain.
There's another question here. Sorry. Somebody was asking about the ha breath, where it oh, sorry, I lost it now.
Maybe
where
that person
originated, yeah.
Oh, where it originated.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. I think I'm assuming it's an assumption. I don't actually know that it's taken from a type of yoga practice or breathwork practice.
Anyone else find huge connection between migraines and gut constipation?
Yeah, I don't know if people want to make an emoji, signal to that they experience that, but scientists have found that there is a connection between migraine and gut, and they're researching that. But I heard Professor Dodik, who's one of the migraine specialists and researchers in the world. I heard a talk by him the other week at the Canadian Headache Society conference, and he was saying that migraine is a multi-system disease. So absolutely, the gut is one of the systems, the digestive system is one of the systems that gets impacted. And it's really common in the prodrome, so the first stage of migraine, that people might go to the bathroom more or less, that it will affect their gut and their ability to manage in that way.
So there were a few comments when you asked about the different methods of stopping and pausing. They said that they noticed they stopped breathing.
They noticed they stopped breathing. When I said stop, they stopped breathing.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't
no. Yeah.
breathing,
yeah.
breathing.
you don't actually notice that until you check in on your breathing, that you're actually holding your breath. I get like that all the time. I don't realize that I'm holding my breath until I go back to my breath and check what it's doing. And my shoulders are up to my ears and I'm not breathing.
Yeah. And so how do you manage that, Therese? What do you do for yourself?
Well, that's when I do stop and just try and focus back onto the breathing again. And I feel myself calming down. I feel my shoulders relaxing. And if I can stay on that breath, and I know I've told you, but I did Jackie Gardner's mindfulness for pain at St. Mike's Hospital years ago, and her voice puts me to sleep every night. I listen to her sleep meditation, and the one thing that I hold on to all the time is her saying non-judgmentally after things. And I think that I have learned to, if I decide, because I used to think once I decide I'm going to meditate, that the world has to stop while I get into focus. But then, she said, accept the noise and be non-judgmental about it. And I find that really keeps me grounded, and and then I can concentrate on the breath. And I find when I concentrate on the breath that I'm at one with myself.
Yeah, that's me too, actually. I love that. That's beautiful. And that's a really lovely reminder as well about, the things we don't have control over us when we're meditating, the noises from outside, maybe a kid turns on a TV or a cat jumps on you, or, the dog starts barking. And just to accept that as part of the practice. Maybe what you can focus on for a bit is, your child yelling, or, not the fact of them yelling or the annoyance, but just the noise, and use that as the focus or anchor point to bring your attention back to.
Yeah, somebody said that they find the sound healing and it helps them relax. Yeah.
That's lovely. Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't know about anyone in this room. Sometimes I go to sleep to the sound of waves crashing on the shore. I have tinnitus, and so I like to use a bit of noise, because otherwise I have the internal ringing noise, which is irritating. So that's a type of meditation too. I'm bringing my attention to that sound of the waves crashing, helping me get to sleep. And I also use various Jackie's included, but also other meditations to go to sleep.
Bev has said, I too realize now that I likely never breathed when I was focused on work. A lifetime of this and tense muscles, my body has reacted. Finally, in retirement, I realize all this.
Oh. Yeah. If only we taught our kindergartners to breathe.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody's saying that all resources are welcome. So if you can pass them to me, I can pass them to Pain BC or Pain Canada, and it'll be available on the Pain Canada website.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll stick up some resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, we're done for time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for attending. It's been lovely to lead you through these practices, and please do reach out if you have any further questions or comments.